During this re-binge process, I've discovered my most prized possession. My Blake Snap bracelet.
Satisfying.
Just owning this carbon dates me.
Me with my memories, the keychain.
Bring back the memories, the
Bring it
keychain.
back. Mine has broken and tarnished, and I will spend $50 for a new one.
Mm-hmm. So get on it.
I'm begging. I'm thinking about getting it tattooed.
Do it. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Rewatching RWBY. I'm still Jenny, that is still Madison, and we are still rewatching RWBY.
Woo!
We've made it to volume 4.
I am scared and excited.
Same.
We've said this before. All we think about is watching RWBY.
It's like contagious disease. Like, I wake up, I think about RWBY. I go to sleep, I'm thinking about RWBY. During the day, during work, I'm thinking RWBY.
RWBY.
This was completely unprecedented for both of us.
Did not expect this.
Not at all.
I expect to have fun. Expected to have fun.
Yeah, but not the kind of fun where it's like, oh, it's taking over our lives again.
No, it's it's like, I thought it was like cringe middle school me being the reason I was obsessed. It's just something about it.
It's infectious. Like, when you know the show exists, you can't not get consumed by it.
No.
But yeah, some interesting things about this season. This is the first season they use the Maya animation engine.
Okay.
So that's a thing they're growing into. First season without Pyrrha.
Every once in a while, I'll just sit and think and cry about our fallen heroes. Pyrrha and Penny.
R.I.P. the Gingers. Nora's the only one left.
Only one left.
Protect her at all costs.
Please, begging. Emphasis on begging.
She is Nora. I'm Blake.
Yes.
The side effects of which
The duo. Wait, that
is the weirdest combination of characters possible.
know. Duo not really appreciated in the show.
Because they never talk to each other.
But it'd be funny.
It would. Make them talk more. I remember volumes 1 through 3 so very clearly. This is when I stopped absorbing the show. I watched it, and it didn't sink into my 16-year-old brain at that point. Now, that being said, I did go to RTX for the year that this volume started airing. I saw the trailer for it on the big screen, which was pinnacle of my existence at that point. It was all downhill after that, personally, but that was such a cool moment.
I think I remember watching someone illegally filming it.
It might have been me sending it to you. I remember this volume being slower and somber, but also solid. I don't remember it being bad. It's just it's a complete change of pace compared to what we were dealing with, because it's almost like the show soft reboots itself.
Yeah.
It gets a second season 1.
Okay. I can totally see that just from what the feelings I remember with it, which definitely correspond with what you said, this slow somberness.
Mm-hmm. The entire cast is split in half.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, pardon me.
She has one sip of wine, and she's like this. I think I will enjoy this season a lot more than I remember, because I'm watching it as a season.
Right. Week to week, it was rough.
And that's why I stopped. This was the season I stopped keeping up with, and I'm not convinced I ever finished it.
I know you didn't.
All right.
No, I guess this is the last video where the title Rewatching RWBY is accurate, because this is the last time you're rewatching any of it. I stopped watching after volume 6. So, volume 7 onward, the entire name of the series will be incorrect. It's great. We're thriving.
We love lying. But at least you've, you said you would watch, reactions.
I've seen reactions to 7 and 8. I know a lot of the spoilers that happen. I've seen what goes on in volume 9. I'm so excited.
I'm so scared.
I'm scared. I'm excited, though.
I looked at some of the merch, and I'm terrified. There's just some pieces of drawings of things. I'm scared. I remember grass.
Grass.
and Vic Mignogna.
Vic Mignogna.
Really, I mean, because we already got introduced to him as Crow,
right?
But like more so.
Crow is very prevalent in this volume.
Yeah, and Oscar, right?
Oh, Oscar! I forgot about Oscar. My mom was like, "I'm so proud of y'all. Y'all are so grown up, except that you're going into your room to watch RWBY."
Yeah.
Valid of her.
This is 2 days after I got a promotion at work. I'm gonna watch a childhood show. I guess we should get to it.
We should.
Otherwise, I could talk about the anticipation for 5 hours.
Yeah.
But...
All right. Let's get into it. Volume 4. First 6 episodes.
Do we want to actually start with intro?
Sure. One lyrical thing that I noted about it is that the last line, "Move onward, not there yet," Monty. Because this is the first volume where Monty didn't even get to work on it.
Well, now I have to like the song.
You don't have to like
No,
the song.
I know.
There's a song from Volume 6 where I feel so mean that I hate it, even though it's an entire tribute to Monty, and I'm like, beautiful tribute, terrible song.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the song.
No.
For this too much.
I wouldn't listen to it on my own time.
No.
And I've been listening to a lot of RWBY soundtracks on my own time in the past few weeks.
I do like the animation. In the sense of, I think it does a lot playing with, like, the imagery.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of the first time it's really close to successfully feeling like an anime opening, which has clearly been their goal the whole time.
Right, and maybe that's why I don't like it as much.
It's like they're finally successfully pulling off some of the tricks that they'll do. Mm-hmm. Like the wraparound Yang fighting her dad, now she's fighting herself. I liked it. Maybe it's the change in animation that makes it look better for me.
Yeah.
But, like, I do not think that would have looked good.
In Poser. Poser had so many limitations. The animation is the most aesthetically pleasing that it's been. Like, the environments are stunning at certain points. Like, the sunset on the boat, the scene in the middle of the night in the woods with all the little floating
it's
insects.
pretty.
It's really pretty.
I find myself, personally, a little more jarred in this, seeing the difference between the animation of the characters and the animation of the scenes, the sets.
I felt that particularly when Weiss was walking through the mansion.
Yeah.
We can tell they're still growing into using the engine.
For sure.
As a Cinder hater, having an entire round table of people say how much she sucks is so therapeutic in the beginning. I'm like, this is quality content right here.
Yep. But, I mean, it's the first time I almost am neutral towards her, though. For me.
Right.
Almost. I feel a bit bad that could be because she's not speaking anymore.
Because she doesn't have any terrible lines of dialogue to make me die inside.
Highly likely there was no intention with this, but the fact that the table was mainly aggressive men versus a disabled woman, which, you know, it's more empathetic scene.
Yeah. And I love how Mercury and Emerald aren't allowed to sit at the table, even though there are 2 empty chairs.
Yeah.
It would have been really funny, like, staging-wise, to have Watts, Hazel, and Tyrion on one side of the table, and Cinder flanked by Emerald and Mercury. Mm-hmm. Like, kind of, like, literally a divide in the faction, which we know nothing about. We have this giant influx of antagonists, and
just characters in general.
Yeah, the huge cast now. It doubles inside, and it only gets bigger from here. Screen time is a premium.
Yeah.
And you feel that, at least I feel that particularly with RWBY. It's like, yeah, we're following her, but she has felt like a real afterthought here. Other than she's just kind of laughing at situations around her.
Which, I mean, we need.
Right.
But I would say, like, even for a second, and this is kind of jumping around, but we had that shot of her what seemed to be a nightmare, of course, of what she saw.
Right.
With Pyrrha and Cinder and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have that again, and that's when we find out the reason she's having this is because she's hearing Pyrrha's audio at night because of Jean. And what he's going through.
Mm-hmm.
So even her PTSD dream
is triggered by an external force.
Yeah, it's like it's almost not even hers. It's Jean's.
Right. It's like RWBY saw her die and disintegrate.
Yeah.
But Jean is the one that feels the loss. You don't even feel or see Ren and Nora mourning Pyrrha as much. Like, you can tell they're not as bubbly, but Jean is the only one carrying the weight of it, and that
literally
feels wrong. Yeah, with the new armor.
The new armor. He's literally, and you mentioned the sash.
The sash.
He's literally carrying the weight of her.
Every hour is missing Pyrrha Nikos hour.
I had to wipe away so much mascara before we started filming.
She was
how
crying.
much I cried. Just when they pulled out the shield, tears.
And the little crown on his shield. I had my own PTSD moment in that box tops are a thing that exist in this world.
Hilarious. Amazing.
Of all the things to carry over, why box tops? Elementary school Jenny is rolling around in her metaphorical grave at the idea of box tops in the world of Remnant.
I did not know box tops could equal such a swaggy hoodie.
Like 50? That's nothing. That is nothing.
That's easy.
That is easy. Child's play.
That's one trip to the grocery store.
When you have 7 sisters plus Jean, that is nothing in terms of cereal box tops. The fight scenes this volume, you mentioned it while we were watching it. You and I both had memories of disliking the fights more, and it's not that we disliked them this time around, it's that they just leave something to be desired. Because everybody floats now.
Yeah.
Like, everybody can fly. The only character where it makes semi-sense that they can be, like, levitating in the air is RWBY, because her semblance allows her to move so fast that it's, like, Quicksilver moment of slowing down of her in the air. Everybody else is just, like, they're flying for no reason. It's like, what happened to gravity?
Yeah.
Like, I know we lost a lot of characters. Did gravity die too last volume?
Jenny, you're gonna manifest a world of Remnant.
No!
Gravity.
No! As few World of Remnants as possible, please. I'm already dreading the ones we have to watch.
What I feel like happened is they found themselves leaning in to the anime style that they were easier to showcase this time around.
Yeah.
That was like always its goal, is to be an American anime.
Right.
And now that they have the style of it, because, I mean, pretty much that's what like half the animes on Netflix look like now. They're made with very similar 3D-ness. And that's because it looks so much like original. But,
yeah. So
I feel like that's what happened, is that they like leaned so much into it, probably didn't even realize the difference of the flyingness.
Well, part of the problem is that the fights always existed as a conduit for Monty to flex. And in the absence of Monty, and I think I might have talked about this last volume, the fights don't have much of a purpose now. Like, you had at least the rule of cool going for you, or if nothing else, the fights looked cool. These fights don't really look cool, and they feel like they exist because this show started out as an anime where the fights are a drawing factor. So it's like, we have to check off X amount of fights this volume in order to satisfy fans, but I feel less satisfied walking away from it. The fight with the Geist, in particular, is clunky, not really even with the animation. What bothered me was the dialogue during that fight.
Which was the Geist?
So weak, which is the Grimm that possessed the rocks in the tree.
Okay.
Like, the dialogue killed the pacing of that, because it was so off.
Yeah. And what was that? That was a rock.
Okay, so the Geist is like a ghost. It can possess objects.
Yeah, that was one of my notes. Ghost? We have Ghost now? Ghost Grimm? We have Bug Grimm, Ghost Grimm, Water Grimm.
And World of Remnant told us nothing.
It sounds like RWBY needs to be a Pokemon trainer. But yeah, it's a lot of it's awkward.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's an awkwardness that is so unique and different from the awkwardness of the first 3 volumes.
Yeah, yes.
It's completely different and still exceptionally awkward.
Yeah.
Weiss is so good in these first 6 episodes.
Love Weiss. Always love her.
Oh, always.
Little, rich white girl. She's amazing.
It never registered me the first time we watched this, but the fact that the scene with her father where he tells her, "You will sing at this event," finally made me realize, oh, I don't think she likes singing. This is not a hobby she likes or wanted to pursue. This is you will be a classically trained singer for the benefit of the family's public image. And that makes the mirror fight even cooler, where the idea of internal conflict is existing for the fact that she's singing at all. And she's also fighting the suit of armor that's displayed in the foyer of her house.
Like, not only that, the suit.
The white trailer gets better and better the further away you get from it.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
It's probably one of the few great things.
I'm obsessed with the white trailer. If nothing else, if you walk away from any of these Rewatching RWBY videos, know that I will die for the white trailer. Mm-hmm. Whitley's first appearance is so jarring, and it's not because he's introduced on a chord that is unfinished, thus our ears are automatically like, what? There has been no mention of this kid.
Who is this man?
Who is this boy? Why is he so lanky? Who is he? What does he want? Like, we knew about Winter. We knew about the dad. Mm-hmm. We assumed the mom was somehow in the picture. Mm-hmm. Whitley is like, out of left field, where did you come from and why are you here?
But doesn't it almost fit with her being a middle child?
It does.
It's like, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I'm almost like, good. Glad they added an annoying little brother. Annoying little gay little brother. How to be said. The
way he claps is alone. Not to stereotype, but...
Stereotype with love.
With love.
Same community.
Exactly.
Back to the Weiss thing.
Where did you come from? Where did you go?
I think it was Weiss, which I don't probably like never know for sure, is like we don't know if she like hates singing because it's singing, or because of the context of what she was forced to sing.
Right.
So like it's art that she was never allowed to actually appreciate because it was forced.
Right. Well, to counter that and to add to our confusion, the song she is singing in a bubble, good. I've heard the whole thing. I love the whole thing. It's one of the constant Spotify repeats. It does not work in the context of where and how she sings it. Because singing about how I'm not your pet, not another thing you own, I was not born guilty of your crimes, in front of a charity benefit that her father mandated her do. Like, girl, that's... You're girl bossing a little too close to the sun with that.
And look, believe me, I do think Weiss could write lyrics and music composition for a song all within a 24-hour time span. I do think she could. I feel like she didn't. Like, maybe I'm just thinking too much about it. I am thinking too much about it, but I'm like, was this just like in her repertoire? Was this a song that she used to practice? Or is this a song within the world already that she just like chose?
I mean,
we won't know.
We'll never know.
We
will never know. This is the last time we see Weiss sing.
Is this the last Mirror kind of esque stuff?
Yeah, well, kind of. So, Volume 5 has these 3 character shorts, and we get a song in the white character short called The Path to Isolation, which is like Mirror 0.5.
Okay, word.
So, like, we get the prequel to Mirror-ish.
Okay.
So you add, The Path to Isolation, Mirror Part 2, It's My Turn, This Life Is Mine. The reason I think Weiss is such a fan favorite is because she has, like, the most complete character arc in terms of Jeff Williams bothered to write all of her songs. RWBY still does not have a second song after Red Like Roses Part 2. That is it. That is all we get with RWBY. We get a few more with Yang. Blake gets one this volume that's kind of whack. And I say that in the context of, I love Sun with all my heart and soul. He does stalk her.
King, amazing. He does no wrong.
I love him, but like the lyrics are, go where you need to, no, I won't leave you, I'll follow you like morning follows night. And on the one hand, sweet. On the other hand, stalking. It's also funny that his abs are much less pronounced than they were in the past 2 volumes.
That is a child. Good.
But congratulations to Sun Wukong for being the only man ever to exist.
Yes. I am so happy I only had to hear Neptune's name like twice. And that's it.
And that's it. To that. The last note I even had on Weiss, or the scenes that Weiss was in, was discount Neptune is the worst.
Yes.
Okay. And Neptune is already the discount version of Neptune. So, like, we are thrift store Neptuning here.
My thing is that it felt so, like... What was his name? Henry?
Yes. His name was Henry Marigold.
Why do I remember? Anyways, very much, like, the worst parts of Jean and the worst parts of Neptune together.
Mm-hmm. To create the ultimate worst boy.
Yeah, I hate him.
The worst.
Weiss Slade.
We both wrote Weiss Slays.
I wrote it twice. I was like talking about the same scene. I just in between the Slay Weiss is Ironwood is so hot. I have not been like I understand attraction to animated characters since not even junior year, maybe sophomore, freshman year of high school. Mm-hmm. Watching Ireland. I'm like, I get it. I can understand it now.
Can't relate, but he is a great character. The fact
it's
that
the coolness.
He's so cool.
I want to make it clear. Coolness.
Okay, but the fact that he automatically offers Weiss a spot at Atlas Academy. He sends Yang a new prosthetic arm. He defends Weiss publicly at a party where the entire room turned against her. King.
We just pose to the side. What I really liked about his offer is that it is offered, like, at the academy. It was done so clearly, like, in a save you from your father way. And not in the way that other characters had, like when we first got the introduction of him, of being, like, oh, like, he wants everyone to be in the military kind of way. It's like, and while you're here, here's a safe place.
And the fact that he already knows Winter, so that he's like, let me collect all the Schnee children and be their real father. I don't know if you wanted to talk about Oscar right now. I have something I want to say about him, but I want to say it at the end of the volume.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the aggregate, I have, like, just a general comment that covers my entire sentiment about Oscar.
That scene with Ozpin talking to him was really funny. I was like, right
hello,
as he said...
my name is Professor Ozpin.
He said hello in the mirror. And I was like, I try not to be too paranoia. But I would never say hello to the mirror.
Because you were asking for the universe to scare you.
Yes. And then this guy does it. And then Professor Ozpin's like, hello. Like, almost pure energy for a second there.
A little bit, you know? A little bit. Just like,
so
hello
cool.
there.
I both like this introduction to him without an actual introduction to him, but also think it's weird. I don't know what else to say about that, I guess. But like we were talking about earlier, we have all these characters introduced to us in bits and pieces and no explanation. Which, like I said, I like it and don't like it.
Yeah.
Because I like getting all the cards and having to wait to turn them to see what you got. But I also would not like that at the same time.
Well, watching it week to week was insanely frustrating.
That sounds so awful.
It sucked. Like, I think part of the reason people turned on RWBY is having to watch it week to week. That is a major thing. Like, watching it right now is kind of like almost a movie that we just paused in the middle. It works better. Like, as episodes, I was smashing my head into the wall watching this.
No, it is almost playing like a normal television series that has hour-long episodes or 45 minutes.
Right.
Because with that, you can play a lot with those tidbits of scenes, of this and that. And you have that long time to get a bunch of that in, like each episode, while also explaining a little more and more. you're not given, crumbs once a week.
And literal breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that mouse in the animated Grinch movie, and then Miles and Carrie are the Grinch grabbing the little crumb and yanking it away from me. That's what 16-year-old me felt like when I watched this live.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not surprised that I stopped watching it.
Yeah. Like, not that it's bad, but that it's like...
Oh, yeah. I'm loving
hard to
this
stay
volume.
invested as a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, as we were saying, the crumbs that we would
The
get.
crumbs.
But overall, I'm loving it.
Oh, yeah. The two characters we haven't really talked about yet are Blake and Yang. And I'm not going to talk about either. I want to talk about the existentialist nature of the existence of bandits.
Okay.
Because thinking about the context of a world where the Grimm feels so prevalent this volume, and it's not just because it's the first thing we see is the birth of a Grimm. It's like the threat of constant destruction looming over them at all costs, stumbling across town after town of ghosts and dead people. The idea that some people have just completely embraced the absurdity and add to that negativity instead of trying to, like, be happy, be positive, trying to make society work in a world where society is so often on the brink of collapse. It's almost like the term coined with existentialist philosophy of living in bad faith, where it's like the idea of just completely everything is meaningless, so you contribute to that meaninglessness. You don't make your own purpose with it. You're just adding to the chaos of it. And the fact that Raven ascribes to that philosophy, whereas Crow clings to what was built in front of him, is the complete dichotomy of the Bronwyn twins. And I love how they're both kind of wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Crow should not so blindly follow Ozpin, but Raven has so completely bought into the idea of the tribe is all that matters, to the point where it's like Crow guilting her about being a bad mom is one of the best scenes in the series of like, did you know Yang lost an arm? Of course you did.
Did you talk about this in your faith episode?
Maybe.
Funnily, I do feel like they both kind of have their slips up in the other directions.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Her having her stupid rule, which both goes in tune with her, anti-society vibe. But she did feel the need to have her Yang pass one time save. It's like, you only do that if you do conform to what society says is your family, which is your blood. Which, when it's your daughter, conform to that, I say. My opinion, care about your daughter. And then Crow.
A good opinion.
Crow, on the other hand, is an alcoholic.
Yep.
Which is often treated like a stain on society. Mm-hmm. So it's just one of those bad things about society. Because usually society is the reason why people become alcoholics.
It's a bad coping mechanism.
But it's also that, like, almost anarchy energy that he has, despite also still
being
clinging.
a poster boy of the system. Yeah.
So it's fun.
It's really cool. That's a really good scene. And the scene of the top-down shot, the cinematography on this volume is on point.
Amazing.
With some of the scenes, like the scene where Crow looking in through the window, and the scene with the two of them as the table spins.
When he goes up the stairs, you get the long shot of the second level. He's lit up. She's in the dark.
She's in the dark.
Amazing. I love it. I love seeing the imagery. That's why we humans created imagery. It's good.
It's about the symbolism. I want Tai Yang's house.
It's so cute.
I want that. That's my only goal in life. It's like, if nothing else, I want to be able to live in the middle of the woods and grow my sunflowers and vibe. I want that so badly for me.
Do you want it with the daughter with PTSD or without?
Theoretically without children, but we're not writing anything off yet. Ty is such an interesting character here in the sense that he both respects his daughter and has this bad habit of still infantilizing her, of you're still not ready for the real world. And it's like, the real world chopped her arm off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that wasn't not ready. That was the real world does not care if you're ready or not. And that's like, the duality of a parent is like, you had the responsibility of choosing to bring a child into this world, and now understanding to the fact that you cannot protect them from it. So you are the reason that they will always be living in peril.
I love the scene with the professors, the dad, and then Yang walking in. It is so cute. And I find it one of the most realistic scenes ever. Like, I've lived it. Like, I would say, like, I feel like I've lived it more with, like, my grandparents or whatever, you know, differences. But the, like, somehow hanging out with your dad and his friends, and who you also have a weird connection with outside of it, which happens all the time in Baton Rouge for some reason. It's so small here. How? I don't know.
It's both huge and puny, and I hate it.
Everyone I know knows everyone else I know. Anyways, so I just loved it. And the joking around, like, I said it when we were watching it, I was like, I could see them all playing cards together.
Yes.
Like, they deserve that. Beers in hands, all of them. It could be her lesbian energy.
Sitting on the countertop is peak lesbian energy. Like, anybody who has questioned Yang's sexuality, it's like, no heterosexual sits on a countertop like that. First and foremost, let's get that clear.
Yeah.
The fact that Peter Port completely redeems himself in that scene of any complaint I ever had about him, like, they're both so good in that. The awkwardness of watching your friend be shitty to his daughter and her laughing it off and you not knowing the joke. God tier writing. They're like, the line about him saying you lost some brain cells along with that arm, that says so much about what Yang's damage is that was her parent. Her only parent while she was growing up, basically. Because Summer died when she was like, what, 5, 7?
I screamed when he said that. The professors and I were making the same face. Like, it was
I remembered that line, so I was not as taken aback by it, but, like, your reaction to it, I'm like, yeah, that wasn't cool of him.
It wasn't cool, but that lets us know their relationship more.
Yes.
Because
she laughs it off,
hits him, and, like, I don't feel like that was a fake thing.
No.
That was like, oh, they both knew they were joking around.
Right. And it's like the weird family, that's like a weird family dynamic. It feels so real and genuine.
Yes.
And it's great.
They do such a great job. And Bernie and Barbara are father and daughter.
Yes.
They were so cute.
I love it. There's something about Bernie's voice that almost always reduces me to near tears. And maybe that's just the intense nostalgia of all of it, but, like,
I say it's because anytime I hear Church's voice, I tear up. And he's Church, so...
I forget you. Blake. I don't know where to start. I lied. Okay. So Grimm are attracted to negative emotion. Blake is so on edge on the boat. The implication that she alone is on edge enough to attract something that big and that monstrous is such an interesting insight to all the shit she's going through internally.
I did not even think of it
that she single-handedly attracts something of that size is like, it speaks volumes to the guilt, the self-loathing, the negativity. I think that is really cool, and I wish that it was more than... It's not even implied. That's just my headcanon. Because think about it. Everybody else on that ship was vibing. And the captain comes off a little weird, but I think it's because he's like, hey, keep the vibes good. We all have to make it to the port.
I can see that now.
Like, I see that would be, like, his job. It's not like, well, he's coming off a little creepy, but, like, he's an old man. Of course it's creepy.
Yeah. I did like how he kind of went away.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, old man.
Good riddance to the bow. We never see the bow again.
I mean, She threw it away, and I was like, girl, you could just use that as one of your mini, like, ribbons that you tie around your wrist sometimes.
Yeah, she kind of littered.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
That was the tipping point for summoning the monster, is littering.
For me, I summoned it.
Love Sun. So when Blake hits him, I want to strangle her.
I think that makes him stalking her even.
It should not be a trade-off.
I know. Real world, these are not my opinions. But
physical abuse, bad. Stalking, bad. In RWBY, we have some minions. Oh, this is terrible.
See, the thing is, they are not romantic interest in my head.
No.
They are besties interest in my head.
Absolutely.
And that changes it for me.
Yeah.
I feel like in my head, if they were romantic interest, I'd be like, sorry, son, you were a cool character. Mm-hmm. Like, Blake, that's a little iffy. Mm-hmm. But because they're besties, I'm like, that's normal bestie behavior, right?
Well, you pointed out the dynamic they have this season is so very much mean, sapphic, dumb hunk.
Yes.
And that's my favorite dynamic in all of fiction.
Yes.
So,
amazing.
Top 10, every story needs mean, sapphic with dumb himbo.
I agree.
And the fact that the only person on the entire world of Remnant that dislikes Sun is Blake's father is so funny to me.
That Wolverine of a man. What is he?
Huge. I know he's got, like, claws, I think. Like a puma?
See, freaking puma.
I guess.
Another one.
I love and hate the fact that Blake is the daughter of the chieftain. Because she gets on Weiss for being privileged AF, and I get that Faunus are considered second-class citizens, but it's like, Blake, sweetie, you grew up in a mansion. Even Sun was like...
I'm not convinced Sun has ever been in a home. Based off his words, I'm convinced that he just cuddles up in the sand.
The fact that Blake had the most stable home life of the 4 girls should not be a thing. That's so funny to me. Like, one of the least well-adjusted members of Team RWBY had the best home life.
I think I like that.
Okay.
Because I find... So Faunus are stand-in for all minorities.
Right.
In America, pretty much. And there's just so many pieces of media out there that will depict minority stories as a broken home.
Okay.
Like, just, like, automatically.
You're
like,
right.
Yeah. Definitely seen a lot of minorities, like, say something about it with the film industry and everything. So it's nice to see that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that.
Well, adding that context in completely changed my view on it.
Yeah.
So, very solid point. I love the name for Menagerie as, like, an assemblage of disparate things. Then again, if it's a reference to Tennessee Williams and the Glass Menagerie, it's hands-on sight because, oh my god, I hate Tennessee Williams plays. And I feel like that's the worst thing a person who did theater can say. Like, this is, like, one of the 7 deadly theater sins. I can't stand Tennessee Williams. This is popping out to me as, like, one of the few things that I haven't covered yet in my notes. With my knowledge of the rest of the series, which is greater than yours because this is where you stopped, it does not matter if Cinder killed Oz. I don't understand why Salem is asking her that question.
Oh.
Because I know that Salem knows what Oz's deal is. Like, she knows.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So why the hell... It doesn't even matter why she's asking, because she already knows that if he's dead, that he's going to reincarnate. And if he isn't dead, he's still in the body. What difference does it make? Is it just to tease us?
Is that what matters, though? If he's not dead, they need to be looking for him. If he is dead, they have to be searching for who knows whom.
I suppose, but I don't follow.
Either. Okay, the whole time I was like, I feel like she would know he's a god.
She does. Spoiler, she does.
Back to Blake. Is she only so pale because she moved to the city? Because she has a tan now. A little.
How long was she on that boat?
I don't know. I can only assume long time. And then we meet her parents. They are not white. They aren't.
No.
And so, which I know can happen for a lot of people, of different ethnicities. For me, it's red or sheet.
You're kind of in between right now of the red and the sheet.
That would make it make sense.
Mm-hmm. Make it make sense.
I'm curious if it was intentional or not. I know the answer. It's no.
Well, the fact that every member of Team RWBY is white as can be, the fact that Blake has a little bit of color now, it doesn't count for much, but it counts for something.
Right. Braid. Yeah.
Tyrion is so annoying.
You haven't seen these things. Animes.
These things. I've seen JoJo.
I haven't, so I don't know.
I don't
what
know.
applies.
I don't know if that counts.
He is identical to, like, the worst characters in anime. Like, just, like, boring villains whose whole thing is that...
Laughing like a madman.
Yes. And I hate it. Like, he reminds me instantly of Naruto.
Okay.
Which...
That checks.
Yeah. I hate it. It's annoying.
It's one thing to get an influx of new characters. It's another thing the fact that I don't like any of the new characters. Like, there's nothing to latch onto here.
No.
Not with Tyrion. Not with Watts. Not with Hazel. Not with Oscar.
I like Weiss's butler.
Klein is cool. We like Klein.
He's so cool. Real dad. Weiss is a real dad.
Her real father. One more thing on Weiss.
Yeah.
The fact that the thing she summons by accident is the boar she slayed at Beacon. Like, the fact that she's probably, like, she has them on her mind at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, the little hint of RWBY isn't giving much thought to the fact that her team isn't there, except for the fact that Nora mentions the Schnee Dust Company, and you see her face fall a little bit. And I'm like, she's missing her bestie right now.
It's so sad. It's just all sad.
Yeah, it's like, I'm having a great time, but oh my god, this is a sad volume.
Yeah.
Like, this is sad girl hours. There's a reason we drunk wine. There's a reason we drank wine beforehand. This is sad vibe hours.
Yeah. There's so many differences with what the girls are doing, like, facing what's been happening. Ruby's the only one that's not home. Yeah. Which fits. If it, like...
Because she's the only one that didn't have a question posited to her by her... Like, Oobleck didn't ask her anything, so she's still trying to be proactive, whereas the other three got bogged down by the things that they were running from.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, and it fits... Kind of like you said, she's not addressing it.
No. And she's like, if I keep moving forward... It's like that BoJack Horseman quote, where it's like, when you feel sad, you run. And you don't look behind you. There's nothing for you behind you.
Mm-hmm. But sometimes you need to go home. And I really, like... Of course, you know, I support their journey, because they feel their journey will, you know, help the world. Mm-hmm. I think her staying home would have helped Yang. Could have very easily helped Yang.
Yeah. And the fact that Ty feels like he can't go and look for RWBY because he knows he needs to be there for Yang. Yes. Like, imagine the conflicting feelings of a father like that. And on the bright side, he does have Crow looking out for her.
Does he even know that, though?
That is a good question. It's hard to tell how close Crow and Ty are, because they're almost... Last volume, it seemed like they had a bit of an adversarial relationship, but that might just be the years and the distance of everything that they went through. But the common denominator they have is the girls. Mm-hmm. Now, I remember their dynamic from RWBY Chibi, and it's hilarious.
I'm so excited. This whole series, I've been surprised with the feeling of scariness that I feel with the Grimm, because I don't remember feeling that when I was younger. Mm-hmm. This is constant dread, sadness, fear. Mm-hmm.
And every time you don't feel it, it comes back in and it jars you, and that works so well.
It's like, for a second, it's like, all right, like, this is sad, we're hanging out with Weiss, and poor girl. And then we see another destroyed village. Like, and it's, like, dark and gloomy, and it's scary.
And it gives... Nothing is scarier than an abandoned metropolis.
Right. Ren is the weapon. Guns are for fun. I wrote that. I believe it's in reference to his ninja mode or whatever. When he, like, just stood there and, like, heard whatever.
Ninja mode. Activate! The fact that my Volume 1 assessment of his weapons are useless gets stronger and stronger with every passing volume. Go like, me.
It's so weird, because, like, they're bullets.
Yeah.
The bullets do stuff when other people shoot them from their weapons, not Ren's.
And not even the blade of his. Like, is it just there for, like... Just... Is it, like, flashbangs? Are they blanks? Is nothing happening?
I don't know. Last thing I wrote is Crow hot. I knew you were gonna like that one. That's all I wrote. I would say we didn't address cool new outfits.
I like some of them. I don't love Blake's new outfit because
her athleisure.
The white coat is what throws me because it's so long and prominent. That's more prominent than the black.
Yeah.
On her outfit.
Yeah.
And I don't mind Weiss being in primarily blue because she's depressed.
Weiss's... That is something I do remember vividly, is being obsessed with this character design. Amazing. Beautiful. The long dress version, iconic. It's so glorious. And I think blue is such a fun way to play around with Ice Queen and white. Because, like, you see that fade into gray.
Yep.
Which, once again, symbolizes her depression. Love Yang's casual cargo pants and tank top.
The depression ponytail.
Yes, depression ponytail. You know, little top, big pants.
Headcanon that when Ty shut down emotionally after Summer's death, he too had a depression ponytail.
Warrior's
wolf tail, as Jean called it. Yeah, all of Ranger's outfits, I like.
I like them.
I especially like Nora's.
I love Nora's. Ren's, even though some of it's mix-matched, I still like it.
It's quite good. I like that the pink is on his hands.
Yeah. I think I like pretty much all of them. To, at least a certain degree.
Yeah. I don't think I start disliking the designs until Volume 7.
Yay!
But those are all our thoughts on episodes 1 through 6. We're going to go watch the second half and catch you there.
Yes.
This volume is so much better than I remember it being. I'm going to start with my thing about Oscar because I talked about that a little bit.
I am so excited for your thing.
Okay, so I think that with Oscar, the only two scenes we should have gotten with him this volume were him waking up and doing the farm stuff in the beginning, and then the after credits scene of him walking up to Crow in the bar saying, "I'd like my cane back."
I can see that.
Because you could probably open in Volume 5 with more exposition about Oz and what the heck his deal is. And that's not what they do. But because there's so much already going on in Volume 4, Oscar feels so out of place. Oscar is Dorothy, right?
Okay.
But also Ruby is Dorothy. In the same way that Blake is the Cowardly Lion, but so is Leonardo Lionheart. And Weiss is the Tin Man, but so is General Ironwood. And the Scarecrow has no brain, is both Crow and Yang.
Okay.
They all correlate with the Wizard of Oz characters. Like, they allude to Red Riding Hood, Snow White, Beauty from Beauty and the Beast, and Goldilocks. But their character traits are very much inspired from Dorothy, the Lion, the Tin Man.
Scarecrow.
And the Scarecrow. I don't have The Wizard of Oz memorized. I should. I don't.
Another context, it is very late for us.
We're not finishing this until past midnight. That is very late for us.
10:30, 10:40 right now.
At the start of recording.
So,
and we haven't even watched World of Remnant yet because we didn't want to kill the vibe like we
Yes.
did the past 2 volumes. So we are struggling.
yes.
I mean, what they have for Oscar is fine from a perspective that I don't care that he's here. I would have just liked the first scene and the last scene.
I really like seeing him go crazy. Personally. And it ties directly back to what we've been talking about this whole time about Crow being sketch AF.
Yeah.
Which is like I said, for me, I don't remember him being that creepy. But like the scenes with him talking to Oscar like really hammer that down.
You mean Oz?
Yes, Oz talking to Oscar.
Oz talking to Oscar is creepy AF.
Yes. My bad.
Okay, but as I say, Crow is
O's are so...
an Oz victim.
Yes. Crow, O's, Oscar. That's how my brain keeps on messing those up.
A lot of names, a lot of characters, a lot of things to
Yes.
keep track
So
of
many
at all
things.
times.
Oz talking to Oscar. Scary. And I really like seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love the scene of him leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Like on his journey.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe there should have been like one more, like he thinks he's going crazy and then he gives in and like you see him grab like a backpack.
Oh, he gives in way too soon.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason I was just like, I'd rather wait for a more fleshed out explanation than just be like, we gotta get this show on the road.
Yeah. But
This yellow brick road that we all follow.
I don't know what the vibe is of next season, but I feel like it almost fits in with this season because of how scary and creepy it is. Because this season is so freaking scary.
I cannot tell you how many times I got chills from either the music, the visuals, or the combination of both.
Mm-hmm.
I think the name for the Grimm they fight at the end is called the Knuckalave. Nightmare fuel. What were they on when they made that? And keep it far away from me.
It's horrifying.
Weiss getting slapped by her father activated all of my protective instincts. Like, every single one of them. I was ready
Yes.
to, like, fight a man with a mustache. And getting disinherited, oof.
Like, God, I hate that man. He's married into the Schnee family?
Yeah.
Lot of talk from someone who's not even blood related to Schnee.
I think he's like Jack Frost.
I can see that.
And I think, like, her grandfather was kind of like a Santa Claus stand-in. So I don't know if this is like Santa Claus 3 vibes. But he definitely married into the family. I do remember that distinctly. I think he started dyeing his hair white to fit in.
Stop.
Because if you looked at the family portrait, his hair was black. And Willow's was white from the beginning.
Oh my God. Like, that just completely changed the context.
Isn't it so cool?
Like, stop trying to measure your own... Whatever.
Whitley is such an interesting character in the sense that he is a very different glimpse into what that kind of abusive and toxic environment can create. Mm-hmm. In the sense of Weiss and Winter both actively rebelled. Mm-hmm. Whitley goes along with stuff as a way of, like, almost self-preservation.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you wouldn't want to make father upset, and the way that the camera kind of dolly zooms in on his face, it's like, he's not stupid. Like, he gets it. I don't love the fact that Weiss keeps saying over and over again that you've never liked me or Winter, and it's like, I can't believe that in, like, 14 or 15 years, y'all never liked each other. Like, ever.
I do think it's survival mode. I don't think it's an aware survival mode.
Okay.
Because I think it's, like, nurture playing into play. Like, playing. As, I mean, he's, like, 14. Mm-hmm. Like, that's despite how tall he is, that is a child.
Such a beanpole.
It's like, that is young child who's just, you know, following his parents' actions. Because all he's doing is, like, re-saying what his dad says. And just following that. And I'm sure it's easier for him to fill that position and go that route as the only son. And then, you know, and it was easier for the girls to rebel as much as they could.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are the women. You know, like, I mean, she maybe this was said explicitly and I just missed, but I guess what happened is that once Winter decided to go to the military, the inheritance went from the firstborn to middle child.
Mm-hmm. It's basically just been like, I'm mad at this child is my new heir. I'm mad at this child is my new heir. If Whitley messes up,
No.
Maybe Klein is the next heir. I don't know. But yeah, it's like he's wielding their inheritance over their heads at all times, even though it's their legacy, not his.
Yeah.
And that's so cool.
Oh, when she says that, chills.
I'm like, yes! And then he slaps her and I'm like, no!
Yeah. Yeah. Horrifying. But we do get to see the suit. Her summoned.
She summons
champion.
The suit of armor. And the cinematography, I can't keep praising it enough this volume. The fact that it's like Weiss, the shattered mirror, or the window, and the night.
Amazing.
So good. It just speaks for itself on so many levels. It's wonderful.
Love Klein.
Klein's the best. Klein is her real father
Yes.
in every sense of the word.
Yes.
Crow versus Tyrion is the best fight in the volume.
It's really good.
Hands down. But it kind of, something I noticed that ties back into your complaint all the way back about the intro, is that you cannot hear any of the music this volume that has lyrics. Like, there's something wrong with the mixing. Because, like, you used to be able to hear what Casey was saying, and now I'm just like, I hear...
There's a lot of times I didn't realize a song had lyrics until, like, I heard, like, a mid-lyric.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I've been jamming. Music sounded great.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, oh, I didn't realize there were words that
Yeah.
could mean something. Like, you know, elevate what's happening a little.
Mm-hmm. I remember when Bad Luck Charm, the full version, came out, and all those Crow is Ruby's biological father theorists lost their mind over the lyric of, you and I are not the same, you don't want the burden of my name. And it's like, he literally talks about the fact that he got his name by being a bad luck charm, not the fact that I'm your biological father. It's, he's called Crow because he literally has the worst semblance in the world of, he brings bad luck to everyone around him, which makes having personal relationships so difficult, and that's so tragic. But the fact that he still wants the personal relationships, it's like he and his sister should have the opposite semblances, because Crow wants to protect his family, but he brings them bad luck and misfortune no matter what. Raven has direct access to anyone she has an emotional tie to with portals. It's like so cool how it's flipped. And it's like, it's stuff like that where it's like the envy of each sibling. Because their scene earlier in the volume where they're talking just radiates such perfect sibling energy. Like, I don't get perfect sibling energy from Weiss and Whitley, but they're both abuse victims. It's different. With them, it's like the envy. And another thing that I noted was Salem saying at one point, the last eye is blinded. Crow and Raven, to my understanding, are like the eyes of Odin, watching out for Oz, like spying, because they're both birds. And the fact that the last eye is blinded, meaning they jaded Raven enough to go away, and now they think that they've killed Crow, but they haven't.
Speaking about them being birds.
Birds!
How are they birds? I thought that was their semblance.
No. Okay, so you're asking important questions that Volume 5 takes great pains to deliberate over.
Okay. Oh, God.
I can turn into a bird, Ruby. I can turn into a bird!
Okay. So that was surprising for me. Like I said, I truly thought that was by semblance. And then, like, the portal thing, I thought that was just, like, either gonna be revealed to be some grim thing or like some, you know, old dust technique, because she uses her sword to do it. We got more exposition story-wise with the fun little you know, my favorite storybook drawing-esque, our caveman-esque drawing-esque this time.
Yes, our creation myth about the Brothers Grimm.
Fun. Always fun. Definitely doesn't make me more confused about the maidens.
Not at all.
Not at all.
They totally don't feel like a thing that got added in 2 seasons into a show. Anytime I hear the word choice, my existentialism radar goes off, because this is just a disease that I've been wired for. And the fact that the beacon relic is the relic of choice just speaks volumes as to what the show wants to be, and at times is. Also, Jean being the only one to kind of hold Crow accountable for Pyrrha's death. Like, Crow believes his own mythology and lies so much that he's like, hey, she made her choice, and it's like, y'all didn't really give her any other choice but to say yes.
Y'all were her mentors, teachers. Oz is the president and the principal, and they're all like, hey, we would really love it if you did this thing. Of course she was gonna say yes.
Yeah.
You know, she thought about it for a second, and so of course Oz was like, this could help save humanity.
She's like, I'll do it. And they're like, oh, we thought we would have to convince you more. And it's like, you've bred an environment where she doesn't think she has any other choice but to say yes. So, did you give her a choice? No, not really.
No. But that's because Oz is a cult leader.
The Oz Illuminati, red flag. Yes. I get more bad vibes from them than I do the White Fang.
Yes. And the thing is, like, we even pretty much learned that, like, Crow was sucked into it too. Someone else who was not in a position to say no.
Well, he was young, he was impressionable, and it's like, I've been shown this greater world. It's one thing to potentially take someone under your wing. It's another thing to completely open their eyes in a way that they can never close them again and expect them to still say no. And that's what's interesting about Raven, is that her eyes were opened to it, and she, somewhere down the line, ran in the opposite direction. And I'm like, that should be explored more. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Like I said, I've been pleasantly surprised with the first 4 volumes thus far. But the fact that it's like, she is trying so hard to run in the opposite direction of the horrors that she has been enlightened with. Burdened with, actually, is the better word for it. Yeah. I think that's really interesting in terms of, like, yeah, that's a hard thing to do, is to throw yourself back into the systems that don't work.
Finding someone who feels that their semblance, like something, a part of them, is bad for everyone else, and then offering them a place somewhere,
giving them a purpose.
Yes, like that's cult 101.
Yep. I want Gira's office desperately. Their scene, like, Gira and Blake made me sob, because he's, like, such a good dad.
Yes.
Like, this volume is the volume of good dads. You've got Ty finally kind of taking emotional responsibility for Yang's trauma. You've got Gira being like, I will always love you. And you've got Ren's dad teaching him, you know, the worst thing sometimes is inaction. Gira's not wrong about the stomach armor, Blake. That was literally where you got stabbed. Like, if I got stabbed, the first thing I would do is put something in the place of where I got stabbed. I don't know. Maybe I'm just built different, but that would have been a first thing to do, instead of being like, it covers plenty, and it's like, stab.
I was like, your ex-boyfriend says otherwise.
Yes. And then there's Jacques.
I was gonna say, it's definitely a volume of exploring family.
Yeah.
I really like this season and following pretty much what I said, like the family ties and different ways that can be done or not done. You see with, like, RWBY, and then you see, like, good family ties, Blake and her dad, bad family ties, Weiss and her whole family.
Jacques ass.
And it does make me wonder where the writers were at that time. To make sure it was all about this, because it kind of, like, it makes sense because of all that happened, but it's not exactly where my mind, I feel like, would first go after, like, just had this huge battle. Now let's send everyone home. It's almost like first thing I think of was like college. Like, finals are done for your first year. Time to go home. Which is just like totally like almost similar. You just finished this huge emotional turmoil, physical turmoil as well, and then you just sent back home to a completely new environment and like relearning parts of yourself.
Zwei is still best boy.
Yes, he's cute here too.
Love him. Tai mansplaining Yang's semblance to her.
Funny.
It's funny, but it's also like, I understand what he's trying to teach her of don't rely on your semblance to win all of your fights. That's not a good approach to go into a fight, because like,
yeah,
according to the rules of the universe, your semblance stops working when your aura breaks. That gets contradicted.
Right on.
The reason he views her semblance as a problem is because it's a temper tantrum. That feels...
Yeah.
That's why I call it jokingly mansplaining.
It was like that sentence, like, I don't remember what the next one was, but just like, take out those first two sentences of that section of their fight training thing, and I'd like it.
Right.
I like what he was... I do, because I agree.
Right.
You know, like, she's using her big moves all the time. Like, your, like, final punches start in the beginning, which isn't best mindset.
And
that's not girl boss, Bernie. I love Ty as a dad. Yes. He's such a lovely example of parent figure that's also your trainer. Something that's like rarely shown, I feel like, because normally it's like the extreme. It's like we get shown like first thing comes to mind, High School Musical, Troy and his dad. Normally we get stuff like that.
Yeah.
The extreme.
Right.
And Ty does such, at least at this point in his life, great balance of being like, time to train, but also like, let's crack jokes.
Right.
Also, I'm your dad. I mean, it's refreshing. Every scene with them, refreshing, comforting.
Right. I like that he has flaws, but that he is, all in all, I'd be like, if that was my dad, I'd be okay with that. You know,
a downgrade.
I'd be
from your dad.
It would be a downgrade from my dad.
Be an upgrade.
You give my dad a model train set, some Doritos, happiest man alive.
Yes, he's great.
The framing of their conversation, literally showing the distance between them as like actual physical space, and then he closes the gap with the conversation. It's like he's making up for the failures of her youth, and it's not... I'm not saying that that's enough, but it's a great progress.
It's realistic.
Right.
And a lot healthier than some parents may approach that.
Right. Like, some parents would just pretend that they never did that.
Yeah. No. What I liked about that, same exact shot, he's talking about, look at our family now. He almost said exactly that. And then it shows that. And it shows them separated, Zwei in the middle. But it shows the lack of Ruby and Yang's mom, the lack of Ruby, the lack of Crow. Like, just the lack of everyone there. That right now it's just them two and Zwei.
I feel so bad for Tai at the end of this volume because, of course, Yang is going to go after Ruby, but once again, everyone Tai loves has left him.
It's sad to see him staring at his picture again. Because for me, what I get from that is that this whole time, he's gotten better because he had to. Because it's implied, like, while they're growing up, Yang was able to step up and be a parental figure for Ruby and herself, while Tai was struggling. Now, this time, Yang couldn't, and so he had to. So he's just been pushing down those feelings that he still has. For me, it felt like he's not actually developed as much as we thought.
Right.
Which is, it's sad. And now he's all alone. But we did see Zwei.
He has the dog.
It did pan over to him.
He does have Zwei.
Which,
not everyone he loves has left him.
Yes. But the way it panned over to Zwei, like, it kind of, like, seemed happier tone.
And the fact that it pans over to the
Yes.
postcard they sent of the Team RWBY. New friends.
Cute.
So cute. Aura breaks so easy now. Like, it's like 3 hits and then they're out, basically.
So, having that physical shield is new, right? Like, the color?
I want to say it happened in volume 3 because I remember Pyrrha's aura's breaking.
But it like, looked different.
It did, but it was also a different animation engine.
Like, I don't know. Like, I kind of remember seeing, like, Pyrrha's.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, this time, like, I'm noticing it.
Yeah, because they're drawing such attention to it.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. The problem is, in the first 2 volumes, it's not even a thing, which makes it more noticeable.
Yeah.
I've complained about the fact that all the new villains don't have anything to latch onto, except for Hazel. Because Hazel has... I remember Hazel's backstory, and I'm like, he's valid. He is so valid for what he does. And the fact that he, without hesitation, helps this kid, like, don't let something that small block your goals.
Maybe tear up a little.
Yeah, he's a very cool character in theory. If I remember correctly, he's based off of Hansel and Gretel.
Oh.
So,
Like,
I think he's Hansel.
I was like, he's both?
No, I think he's Hansel.
Okay. Where's Gretel? Is that his tragic backstory? No Gretel? No more Gretel? Okay. I'll find out.
You'll find out. Blake keeps hitting Sun.
No.
Stop it. It's not defending her, but it's really interesting that she is so traumatized from the fall of Beacon that she's, like, lashing out at somebody who is unapologetically trying to help her at every turn. And the idea that it's like she's so mad at him for loving her unconditionally, in a platonic sense, of course, because it all breaks down the minute Ilya stabs him. She's like, not again, please. And it's like, she cares so deeply about people, but she keeps it so close to the chest. Her line where she says, I hope they hate me for leaving, it's like...
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't support her hitting him. I think it's an interesting glimpse into her mentality right now.
Yeah. I understand her irrationalness.
Yes.
I mean, for me, it's irrational. I would never, like, just hit someone. I'd be pretty pissed, though, if with Sun eavesdropping.
Oh, yes.
And so I can see that translating for her.
Her anger is valid. Her expression of the anger is not valid. Do not abuse the people you love.
I love that talk with Sun. Sun always spits straight facts about friendship.
King.
Which is supposed to be, like, the core of this show. Mm-hmm. And...
Well, notice how he wears all 4 colors. He wears red, white, black, and yellow.
Oh, I love Sun.
He is the best. Michael gives such a warmth to him. Yes. It's just so good.
Thank God Michael voices him. It felt like this time it got through to Blake.
Yes.
As you, like, see her smile and everything.
My hero.
And then her mom and dad. Hilarious.
Kali is so great.
They're so great. Her and Sun are besties.
Yes.
And I think it's hilarious.
Oh, it's amazing. Shout out to the fact that Yang knew to spray paint her arm and her gauntlet on cardboard and not directly on the grass / concrete. My parents still have not forgiven me for spray painting directly on the concrete. I'm never living that down. I have been something of a suburban menace to them. I've spray painted the concrete. I have set the carpet on fire. I have glued the carpet together. So many things. See that little singed black spot?
This is lore I did not know of. What craft was it?
Accidental arsonist. It involved a blow dryer.
A blow dryer? Yang's also really freaking cool.
So cool.
She's always been cool.
So cool. I love her new outfit.
Love her new outfit. It just kind of like, it fits her more.
I never liked the short everything.
Because that's not how girls dress. You have either short bottom, big top, or small top, big bottom. At least when it comes to, like, girls like Yang and her energy. And that's what we saw this time. We saw her big pants and crop top, tank top.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, I can't remember what it looks like, her, like, traveling gear. But she has this long coat that's cool.
Yep.
It's cool, and she's on our motorcycle.
And I love the purple sash.
Yes. Amazing.
It's such a beautiful shade of purple, which matches her eyes.
Yes.
These are little things I noticed about Blake's outfit that bothered me this time, and I'm better at articulating it now. Is that it's not the white coat that's been throwing me, it's the gold accents and the muted purple.
Yeah.
That's what's been throwing me. Because it just doesn't mesh in my head compared to, like, thinking about how vibrant the purple is on Yang.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking to myself, it's almost so dull on Blake that it's gray.
I think the color scheme is just such a change.
Yeah.
It's really through, because hers was just so much black, pure white, and then bright purple. That's what it was. And now it's
Black,
different.
white, gold, and not purple.
Yeah.
Of all the slapping in the volume thus far, Nora slapping Ren is the best slap. Hands down. Because it's like a snap out of it.
Yes.
I love you.
Yes.
Don't kill yourself over this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you take the floor on Nora and Ren.
I think this is what was needed. We needed more lore on our OG characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it helps balance out with all the introduction of the characters that we get, and all the different storylines that's going on. We get something that we care about already. Especially me care about already.
This was specifically tailored for you.
Me.
Good for you. You keep winning. You deserve to win.
My up and ups.
You are thriving right now, and we love to see it.
I love that their trope is Nora being poor and Ren being rich. Like, so cute, and it fits so well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's sad to see that Nora is like an orphan, like, on the streets.
Riff raff, street rat.
And then we talked about it, that, like, she's not from there. No way. Because that town had such a distinct culture that she obviously did not fit in with.
No. I don't know where she came from, but she is most certainly not from this region.
Yeah.
And which makes me curious as to where did she come from. But what made me think about something, and it ties all the way back, this ties all the way back into Carden. Bullying should be actually illegal. Because that, in the same way that Blake drew in the sea serpent, Nora may or may not have drawn in the Knuckalave with the negativity of, I'm homeless, I'm getting bullied, and I'm hungry.
I see what you mean.
So it's like the idea that, like, they should have all kinds of homeless shelters in this world. They should have free therapy for everybody. Like, think about this stuff in context of negativity is lethal in this world. It's just, I'm not blaming Nora for any of this. I'm just saying that, like, in this world, when you have an existential threat like the Grimm, who literally destroy you because you had a bad day, don't bully the orphan child.
It's like the society should be doing its best for people to not have bad days.
Exactly. And it's easily not. Ren unlocking his semblance is so cool.
That is so cool. And I like how he just has that moment where he, like, runs to her.
Yep. He's like, I'm being proactive.
Yes.
I'm going to take care of him. Handing her the little hammer.
We'll protect each other. Amazing, amazing. And then he's holding the knife. His weapon's awful, but similar shape to the knife portion of his gun.
Sucks. The design of it is cool in terms of his backstory. It's useless. It just, every fight scene, nothing, that weapon has never provided anything to a fight scene.
It's always him that's able to provide anything. If he does.
Ren is the weapon.
Ren is the weapon. The guns are for fun. Like, that's it. They don't do anything. The whole story, sad. Travesty. And also the most horrifying thing to watch because it's with that Grimm.
When his mother died, I was like...
No. We're Ren in that second because it goes black. And then we wake up with him just running his father's arms. So sad. And this poor freaking village that apparently only has bow and arrows. If only they had a gun.
You wonder why that kind of village doesn't just have, like, cannons on the walls.
Yeah. The whole universe, the whole world is so disproportionately spread out with this wealth, which is very IRL. But, like, we see, like, we have villages. Villages with bow and arrows. And then we also have flying military. We have robots. We have Penny. What, like, one of the most jarring things...
We had Penny.
I don't know why you would say that. One of the most jarring things was Oscar getting the ticket. The Hazel scene we were talking about. It's all wood. And this, like, rickety train. Digital ATM-esque ticket machine. It's, like... it's just the... It's crazy. It just throws me off sometimes.
The disparity.
But I understand why it's happening. Since that they're going... I've talked about this before. They're going for both fantasy and sci-fi at the same time.
And that's hard to pull off.
It's hard to pull off. And honestly, it gives me often very much like 20s, 30s steampunk. But like a different take on steampunk.
It's trying to be The Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
And The Legend of Korra didn't do a very good job with the steampunk either.
I think that was one of the best parts.
Meh. That's another thing I need to rewatch is we watched The Legend of Korra over the span of a road trip to North Carolina to see The Lightning Thief when it was touring. And then they added a tour to New Orleans after we'd already gone to North Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die mad about that. Ruby and Jean are kind of the same besties vibes that Sun and Blake give me. Not the same, but in the sense of, like, unconditional support in terms of, like, you gave us the courage to follow you. He's also so much taller than her.
He's so freaking tall. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I love that that's something that's been there since day one.
Yep.
And has just grown as they've grown. Because they've grown separately with their own teams, and now they're growing together, and they're still besties and there for each other. Amazing.
Another thing I really like this volume in terms of the aesthetics is they lean into the smoke effects for the Grimm as whenever they get stabbed, they, like, smoke and they ooze. And it shows, like, how their bodies are always, like, evaporating. Yeah. And it's like, I love that visual. And the fact that that is what draws the attention of a routine patrol, that's a really cool way to do it.
I'm very happy they said that.
Yes.
As I did not draw that conclusion on my own. When they pulled up, I was like, what the fuck? Where are they coming from? Why are they here?
It's like, throw them a bone. They've been having a rough time of it. Let's just get them to Mistral.
Speaking of throwing people bones, me getting to see Ren and Nora cuddle... so cute. And then getting to see what's remaining of Team Juniper cuddle together. Even better. That moment, and you can feel the difference between, you know, the romantic and platonic physical affection that's going on.
Gave me emotional damage.
It's
because, like, you don't really see Ren and Nora mourn Pyrrha as much. And I feel like Jean is the only one really, truly feeling it, except for the fact that he does point out, like, Ruby lost Pyrrha, too. They all lost Pyrrha. Pyrrha's absence is so felt.
Yes.
This volume. Because you really take for granted, A, she was the only member of Team Juniper that had consistent custody of a brain cell. B, she was also the levity. Like, she was so good at what she did, but she was also just a beacon of light. for lack of a better term.
Beacon. PTSD.
The fall of Beacon. I miss
her.
I didn't think I'd miss her that much. And it's like, I know that she's not real, but like, she feels real to me. In my heart, she is real.
It's so sad. It's not ever gonna stop being sad, and I hate that.
Yep. Armed and Ready slaps. The fact that it's a pun. It's like the end credit song.
Okay.
Because the whole idea is Yang got the least amount of screen time out of the 4 girls this volume. So the fact that the end credits scene is a song of her talking about, like, getting back into the groove. And she's like, now I'm armed and ready. God damn it, Barb!
Thank God.
All of the end credit songs thus far have just been 10 out of 10s.
They always fit.
They always fit. Like, Wings, Sacrifice, Divide, and Cold, and now Armed and Ready. No complaints. Yeah. None whatsoever. I really like RWBY's letter at the end.
Yes. I liked it. For me, it gave insight into what she's been thinking this whole time.
Yeah.
As well as almost a reminder that she's our main character.
I forgot that she was our main character.
Yeah, she's our main character, and typically our protagonists are supposed to be our self-inserts. And for a second, I feel that. Mm-hmm. For a second, I'm like, she is writing what I've been thinking. Because, like, I feel a part of this journey. I feel like I've been a part of it. And then it almost also feels like the writers saying what they're thinking. Because I can only imagine how much Monty's loss has affected this. And not even from, where's the story go from here now? From a writing perspective of just that influence of your friend and work partner passing. And I felt it.
Yeah.
Just all of those emotions and all those different viewpoints all intersecting.
The line about, for the people we haven't lost yet.
Cried. Little tear.
Really hurt. And it's a really good way of doing a voiceover to tie all of it together as you lead into the next volume of, like, Weiss getting on the airship to flee Atlas, Blake getting ready to do more dumb White Fang stuff, Yang on her motorcycle, on her way.
Patty. Seeing her choose. Alright, I was annoyed, but then she said, you're gonna be in so much trouble line. I was like, okay, good. Because I felt like we didn't need to see that question be posed to her again. Mm-hmm. But it made me happy to hear her, like, say that, give her a little smirk, and be a badass and drive into the distance.
It's like, I'm gonna go find my sister.
Yes.
Now, that being said, the writers refused to confirm in between volumes which one she chose, because they're like, oh, she's going to see RWBY. And he goes, well, no, actually, you don't see which path she goes down.
I thought we did.
We did, but they act like we didn't. It's a weird disconnect of they wanted to convey something differently. Like, her saying, you're in so much trouble, that is a dead giveaway that she is going to see her sister.
Yeah.
If you listen to the commentary and the interviews in between volumes, they act like it's the biggest, oh, what did Yang choose?
Weird.
And you'll see in volume 5, she doesn't technically directly choose RWBY. It's a weird roundabout where they get to have their cake and eat it too.
Okay.
I don't like volume 5. I don't remember liking volume 5. I liked volume 4 significantly better this time around because I sat down and watched it basically as a movie. Week to week, it was painful to sit through. It was good, but it
was painful just taking our break to record our first thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, it was, all we did was take a break. We used the restroom. We talked. So it was, like, max an hour.
Yeah.
Just in between that. And then going back into the next episode, I was like, oof. This feels weird.
Going back into the Crow and Tyrion fight after an hour felt like a decade.
Yeah. I just can't imagine a freaking week.
And sometimes in between those weeks, a World of Remnant episode.
Thank God. Sorry, it's I'm gonna beat that bitch up. It's Weiss's dad. Speaking of bitch, they say the B word.
Tyrion says the B
Tyrion
word.
says the B word. Scandalous.
I feel like Tyrion shouldn't count toward anything. I feel like Tyrion should be like negative points.
Yeah. I said Weiss would have loved ballet corps. Just look at her. I'll always have you. Weiss says it to Klein. Who apparently is voiced by J. Michael Tatum. What? What? I'm not over that. That found out earlier that what was it? Oscar is voiced by the person that voiced Alphonse Elric. That was crazy. J. Michael Tatum. Crazier. It's insane.
I cannot read your handwriting.
Yeah, me either. I know the answer is that they just didn't think about it. Why does Cinder attack Ruby and her new fit when she's training? They don't... She doesn't know her new outfit.
No.
It's like, I know they just didn't want to make a model that they used for 5 seconds.
But
that makes sense.
yeah, like, man, Cinder either has a designer's eye. Oh no, it's Emerald
Yeah.
who conjures up the image of it. But you're so right. That didn't register to me. Fashion minor coming in.
Speaking of which, love Cinder's dress. I didn't say that when we were talking first time about the free character designs. Love it. Love the short hair. So cool. It pissed me off. It's like, she doesn't know. No one knows. Unless, like, Salem showed her a picture of that Tyrion took or something.
It's like, look,
I don't remember
it's your
that.
worst enemy.
I'm finding it harder to analyze more as in like this volume. I'm sure it's gonna be even harder next volume because it's stuff that I did not watch on repeat in my childhood. Mm-hmm. Even though I didn't 100% remember RWBY, I still had like.
Well, I feel like
basics,
this volume was so... It's almost like not a lot happened this volume. It was like a...
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling. It's more of a... I hate the saying the journey matters more than the destination because it's not untrue. I'm just tired of hearing it. But in the sense of this volume was an emotional journey. Mm-hmm. You know, the destination of where they get to is irrelevant in terms of... They're all just processing their trauma. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the deeper thematic things of these are children who live in a really bleak world, and you either take the RWBY approach and you try and face it head on and just keep swimming, or you have to take your breath, you have to catch your breath and get back to the roots of people who love you, or realizing that you have to find the people who love you. Like, that's Weiss's thing, is I have to go find the people who love me.
Yeah. So I like this volume.
I really like this volume. I would still rank mine 2, 4, 3, 1.
I almost want to put this in first place.
That's your right. You're allowed to do that.
It is my right.
You're allowed to do that.
But I'm one half of me is like, are you freaking dumb? Other half of me is like, I like the emotions. And I like the green.
The grass.
I like the feeling of scary. Being scared. Being scared and how that can reflect, you know, not only the world that they live in, which is in constant danger, but also their feelings. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think 4, 2, 3, 1.
All right.
For me.
Let's finish World of Remnant and finally get some sleep.
These better be short. Wait, who narrates this?
Crow.
Fake Mignata. World of Remnant.
It's after midnight. I feel nothing. The only takeaway I have is that Crow is racist.
Yes. During the Faunus one,
Yeah.
he's like, I sympathize with
The racists.
our ancestors that got scared of fauna. Oh.
And I love how he talks about, like, oh, animals. It's like the only animal we have seen that is not a Grimm has been Zwei. And if you're terrified of Zwei, fight me.
So we had the kingdoms.
Yeah.
Only thing I really care about that was learning about Mantle and how kind of answered some of my questions. One of the biggest things I complain about is the differences between technology throughout the world. And this explained it. This is the first time this has done its job for me. Mantle, expanded technology really quickly, really fast, and faster than the rest of the world. And that's why there's sometimes really great technology and sometimes just a hunk of wood. Like, all right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Then there's the in-between kingdoms ones.
Which just kind of says
There's
nothing.
villages.
And bandits.
Yeah, and bandits.
And Grimm. We're obsessed with knowing what the heck is on the continent that's shaped like a dragon.
What?
What's there?
What's there?
Salem?
We would assume
Where else
so,
would she be hiding?
because Crow's like, oh, we don't know where Salem is. And then he's like, we know everything about the world except for this dragon land, but we also know it's shaped like a dragon. But you don't know that unless, they've developed space travel, which don't think they have.
No.
Or you've been there and charted it.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got the Schnee Dust Company one where it's just like, it's a company.
I guess it goes in more detail about the...
Jacques
Yeah.
versus Nick.
Yeah. One thing I learned from that is that dust is harmful. The mining for dust is a dangerous
Apparently.
process that, similar to like miners now, has long-lasting health conditions.
That doesn't make sense to me.
No, because as far as we know, dust is just a little dust. Dust is just a little rock.
Well, people like inject themselves with dust. Like, that may or may not be good for you, but like they do it.
If they had worded it just a little differently, I would be like, it's the physicalness.
Mm-hmm.
And only that. But they had the physical stressors that he's been under, a separate thing for why Weiss's grandfather retired.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the Great War one, which just confirms that Oz has had a key role in building this entire world. Like, maybe it's because it's so late at night, or maybe it's because I'm so sick of the world of Remnant. I'm so over this. I care, but in the sense of, why is this not in the show? And it's not impossible to do it in the show, because, like, I know George R.R. Martin is, like, insane with the backstory he comes up with his worlds, but, like, you get a good picture of all of their history over the course of several seasons of, like, this war led to this, and this happened to this, and this dynasty fell because of this, and it's like, it's not impossible to do. The
thing is, the In-Between Kingdoms one, they did in the show.
Yes, that's not even a necessary
That's,
thing.
like-
Like, they didn't need that.
Yeah. That's not one that I understand why they thought they needed it. I still don't understand the kingdoms,
Nope.
but I get the push to have that.
Yeah.
So much more than the Small Kingdom one, because they explain that in the show.
Because that's just what Team Ranger does all of Volume 4.
Yeah.
And even then, you could have found a way to explain the Schnee Dust Company with Weiss's story. You could have had it would have required, like, an extra model or something, but have Weiss going around with her father before he disinherits her and exploring what it means to be the Schnee Dust Company.
Yeah, something like that, or just... The first thing that comes to mind is, Zuko and Aang, when they have their, like, journeys to the past at the same time. Not, like, actually doing, like, a journey to the past, but in the same way, her on her own, finding out about her family's history. And that being a inquire into why she is so, and like, wants to stay part of the Schnee name.
Yes.
That would make sense.
Like, Weiss alone.
Really, yeah.
Instead of Zuko alone.
Yes. Learning about her history, being like, oh, my family wasn't always awful.
Yeah.
Like Schnee Company wasn't always, taking advantage of Fauna.
The thing my father married into.
Yeah. I'm still not over that line. Amazing. She never misses with her comebacks.
I was say, like, racist Weiss?
Yeah.
I really don't ever have any notes on these World of Remnant clips, because I'm just like, I don't know what else to say other than I hate the fact that these exist.
Yeah. Like,
I appreciate that they're trying to tell us this information. I wish that they would show it to us in the actual thing that they're making.
Mm-hmm. But, like, I also feel like we have to watch it.
Oh, yes, because we would not understand a good 15% of what's going on if we don't watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Which sucks, because it's literally homework.
I forgot to say this. We were talking about the last half of the volume. Why is Crow already at the bar? That man was dying. That man almost died. And then we see him at the bar at the end. Someone get him help. Please. I am begging.
Like, intervention time. You need to stop! But yeah, that's World of Remnant. It is still World of Remnant.
Yes.
That's 30 minutes of my life I can't get back. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I know these videos are extremely long, but I really enjoy making them.
They're so much fun.
If you like this video, give it a like. If you feel like subscribing, welcome aboard. I'm not going to tell you to do it. You can make your own choice.
Do it. I'm not her.
I am ready for sleep. So,
Yes.
thanks.
Thanks.